Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is new Sheriff Mark Butler. I guess we can call you the sheriff after January 1st, or you've been sworn in.
Been sworn in.
You've been sworn in. I seen you.
That was a great day.
It was.
It really was. It was.
It's kind of a tingling sensation, isn't it?
It's a humbling, really humbling. I mean, in law enforcement to reach that pinnacle in your career, but most of all to be the sheriff. I don't think you actually looked at your own sign, Mike. So turn the phones off.
There's a big sign right there. Mark put it up. He said, turn your phone off because they ring during the interview and it makes us look stupid. So
that's
we can't read and can't spell and do all sorts of stuff.
Well, maybe get your glasses checked. Make that font a little bigger, Mark.
I know, but hey, that's okay. That's okay. We'll just leave that in here so people know that we're human. That we're good.
Now last night we did a lot of work to get there, and it's just really surreal that
it's kind of hard. It comes to an end. I mean, in a way, you've been working on this for 2 years. Really?
Yeah, it's been over 2 years we've been working.
Yeah. When you made that decision, I can remember talking to you a couple of years ago that you were going to do this, and it's a lot of work. People have never campaigned for something, really don't know.
Yeah.
This county is, even though it's our smallest county, it is big. If you've ever, for campaigning, there was places I'm sure you've been like I did.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know it was there.
Yes, there's certain areas that you got to plan your day to go to those areas.
We're going to backpack in there.
Right? I got the wrong shoes on for that area.
It's true. I mean, we have, and so when you talk about that in law enforcement, you're going to a lot of places out in the county that probably 99% of the people don't even know exist.
Oh, yeah. And, I did a ride-along with one of our sergeants the other day, great deputy and sergeant. I'm looking forward to working with him, with Sergeant Mumal. And we went into a lot of different areas and see the obstacles and what they have to go through just to get to a call. So it was good to see that because I think we can actually fix that. And that's my goal one of my goals is to make us more efficient and effective. And I think
quicker
we'll be able to do
response
that.
times.
Yeah,
that was always the joke, years and years ago, that don't expect, call and maybe in an hour or two someone would show up.
Well, that's definitely something that was on my platform, and it's something we're also already looking into. I
spoke to one of your new deputies the other day at the forum back over at E. Wilson when we had the sheriff's forum over there, and I asked, talking to him in the hallway, and he had just moved over here from Clark County, and I'm sure you'll know who that is.
I do know that.
But he was very pleased. He was so glad to be here. He liked it. He said the pay was better, the working environment was better, his schedule was better, and he wasn't left alone in the middle of the county all night long. So he had great things to say about it, and he looked forward to the new year. And he there was nothing negative about the Warren County Sheriff's Department. He thought it was a good place, and he considered it to be promoted up. Was working in a better. Nothing saying wrong about the county he came from, but did I say what it was? I won't say, but anyway.
You did, and that sheriff's been around a while, and he's very well respected.
It's a bigger county, but they have less people, and so you don't need as many deputies.
Well, and their budget's not the same.
Right,
and
it's a different kind of clientele, so to speak.
I actually, looking at ours, and we've been diving into all of it and the administrative side of it. We're kind of in a precarious situation because we have Fauquier that's right above us in Loudoun County, and these are counties that connect us, and they're on a Northern Virginia budget.
Right, exactly.
And then we have the other counties to the west and north that are on a valley budget, and if you're looking at the two, there's big differences, and so somehow we're going to have to figure out a happy medium so we can keep qualified deputies and provide Warren County with the best of the best. There's different ways we can do it, and we're talking about it, and hopefully we can move forward with that, whether it be part-time officers getting better qualified part-time officers to fill in the gaps, because we have so many deputies right now and administrative people that are wearing multiple hats. And so they're the jack of all,
Sure.
master of none.
Yep.
And that's something we need to address. And I think we'll be more efficient and effective. And in the end, will be cost saving.
Well, that's always been a thing with the sheriff's department. People have kind of felt like you had a whole lot of people work there.
There's really not, once you put all the duties in there.
Well, that's true, and that's something that we got to look at that, and I think that's part of we need to talk about things and let people know that the sheriff's department is more than the handful of people you see riding around in their car all day.
Right. You have 4 animal control officers, and that's what they don't understand, that those officers are not only going out to get the stray dog, but they're investigating cases. And their plate is full as well, and they're a law enforcement officer, so it's 24 hours a day. Our animal control officers are working their tails off, and our patrol deputies are working their tails off too. And you have minimum staffing. You have to think, well, if I have 5 guys working the county, well, that's 210 square miles. I know it's a small county, but 210 square miles to get from one end of the county to the next. If they're going where 2-3 deputies are on a call, well, one of these deputies is going to have to go completely across the county. It's going to be an hour
Right,
to get there.
that's all right. Yeah.
So, there's many things we need to look at. And I said I wanted to, we have a reserve deputy program and an auxiliary, but I want to expand on it. I really do. I want to expand on all those things.
A lot of these responsibilities can be turned over to less, I want to say less qualified, but less, like you say, part-time or reserves or candidates or things. But you brought up about people. I noticed when I was in the military, thinking like, why do we have these 12 guys here? We're only 4 of us do any work.
Right.
Didn't realize, though, that you got to account for vacations, sick days,
Right.
all these other things that when someone's gone, it's a one-person job. You got to have 2 people. I mean,
and then
it almost seems that way, doesn't it?
You also look at it, I mean, they're deputies and they swear, and, we're all public servants and we swear to uphold the law and protect, but we have a family life as well. So,
What's all that about?
Right? So,
Do you know what that is? I mean,
no, no.
you've been putting in a lot of time. I'm sorry, we digress here.
But it's, they have health issues or they have issues within their family they have to take off.
Sure.
You gotta have someone. It's an issue. You gotta have people to come in and fill in for them. So, it's a great task, and
You'll be in the patrol car if you don't have enough staff there.
you will see me 31st at midnight in uniform.
There you go. That's what we.
And so will every captain and lieutenant, because we're not gonna. You will see working officers.
Good. Well, speaking of people, we have. We've got all this Facebook chatter that you've cleaned house down there at the sheriff's office.
Well, the best thing I ever did was shut off Facebook. And I call it the National Enquirer, but I haven't cleaned house. That's a total misconception. There might be 2 people.
All your staff leaving because they're
No. From Mike Arnold down. The only thing we've said is, hey. In our new sheriff's office, I just don't know that you're going to be in that position. We've kept a lot of people in positions, but a lot of people have decided, hey, you know what? They'd already applied. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is if they're leaving in December, they have applied for other agencies months before.
Oh, months.
Yeah, because it takes normally for any good agency, it'll take 2-3 months just to get you in the doors of the process to do a solid background check.
And people do leave for various reasons.
They do.
And just like school teachers, we have a large turnover every year of school teachers, and they think, oh, it's this, it's that. We evaluated it, and out of 60 people leaving, maybe 9 people said something was about pay. The rest of them had a variety of reasons why they were
Everybody
leaving.
leaves for different reasons.
Yeah.
And, I talked to a deputy yesterday that I really was hoping he wouldn't leave. And I wish a lot of them wouldn't leave. Josh Seal, one of them. And, they just felt they wanted change. And I get that. Sheriff's office is hard. Every 4 years, those deputies run through the turmoil of wondering, are they going to keep their job? And that's hopefully something we can address later on as we get more stable within the sheriff's office. But the deputy I spoke to yesterday, he is going eastbound, 30 minutes out, and he's going to make $20,000 more a year. So this deputy is really going to walk into a small police department, making about what our captain makes, 30 miles away.
Yeah.
So this is one of the issues we're always going to have to contend with.
And we're doing the same thing now. We're recruiting counties 30 miles the other way
Correct.
to bring people into Warren County. So it's kind of a vicious circle.
It is a vicious circle. And so what I want to do is I want to combine a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I want to get the guys that are retiring from up there,
right,
and bring them in either full-time or part-time status. One of the things that we're hoping to get through with the Board of Supervisors is get our part-timers medical insurance. That way we're actually getting quality people that want to come in and actually work for our sheriff's office,
right,
even at a part-time status.
Well, the sheriff's department is it's kind of like the military. They're retiring at a very young age, so a little more than the military does. But
right.
Most of these people are in their 50s.
Yeah, so they're going to work another job.
They want to, they're kind of being, I don't want to say forced out, but the system encourages them to retire. But they've already put in, a lot of them, 30 years. By
Right.
the time they're 50 or 55 years old. And they're at the top, but yet they're not ready to quit. I mean, they still have a lot of good years left, but maybe not in that particular role as a patrolman or as, doing
Well,
that.
I interviewed an investigator just the other night for the second time. I've known his work for 30 years.
Right. They're at their peak then. That's what
Exactly.
you want. You need experience in certain kind
exactly.
of job.
And I'm bringing him in as an investigator, a sergeant in charge of investigations. And you're talking about a guy that has 30 years experience.
Yeah.
You can't pay for that.
Right.
That individual could probably demand a lot more, but he lives in this county and he wants to wants to stay in this county. He's tired of driving
running up and down the road.
Exactly.
People do get tired of that. And it's more than just the money.
That's right. So those are the people we're going to look at. But I also want to promote from within. We have a lot of great deputies in there.
Well, I hear you've encroached. Normally, it's the police department stealing people from
right.
the fair. I heard rumors the other day you actually snagged people out of the police department.
I hope Cale doesn't get mad at me, but
Well, he's a transplant too.
he is. They stole him, so
Right.
So it's only fair. Robbie Seal's coming on, and I'm very. I've been fighting Robbie Seal to come over to the sheriff's office
Right.
for over 2 years.
Right.
And when after we won that night, I said, "You're going brown, man." Well, I don't know. I said, "Oh, no, you're going brown." So, I think Robbie's going to be a great asset to our county. And that's the one thing. Someone came up and said, "I can't believe you're taking Robbie Seal. He does so much for us in the town." I said, "He's still going to do it.
Yeah, right.
He's just going to wear brown."
That's right. I mean, the town is the county. I mean, people don't.
Right?
They don't
really get that. But so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, one thing you talked about in your campaign era, and that was you're really onto the investigation for drugs, and I use that as a broad term. But you talked about investigations, and we see the indictments coming down all the time. The investigators have. They're arresting the same people over and over again for one pill, one joint, one pill, one joint, and we don't seem to ever get past that stage. And you mentioned some things that you thought you were going to be trying. I mean, as you're close now to making those decisions, what's your position on that? I know you're really anti-drugs. I mean, like any law enforcement officer is, but
I am.
But this transition we have, the transient population we have, is just it's just flowing through our county.
Well, after interviewing all the deputies, I'm very, very confident in what we have moving forward and bringing others in. We will be proactive. We will be extremely proactive and we will find different ways, and we will try different things. Some things will work, some won't. I know with like bringing the individual from 30 years, he's
Bring a fresh set of eyes to the problem.
and different ideas.
And we also are going to have a new Commonwealth attorney, and I think that makes a difference as well.
Spoke with John Bell on several accounts. I'm looking forward to working with John. We've also spoke and reached out to Sheriff Mosier and Fauquier, Sheriff Carter and Shenandoah, Sheriff Roper, Sheriff Milholland. We're reaching out to all of them, and we are going to move forward. And hopefully, all of us together, we can combine our resources.
Well, you know, I would say drug dealers, they don't use county lines.
No, they don't.
It's borderless. So you have to form a network of people together because they're zip, zip, zip everywhere.
Yeah, and, you know, I think, you know, the Drug Task Force has had some really great cases and done a lot of great things. We want to expand, and we want to move forward any way we possibly can. We will explore any avenue to be more productive and proactive.
Well, you know, we're hoping that the Sheriff's Department will be a little more media savvy going into the future.
Well, I just spoke with, had an interview with Josh Gully from the Northern Virginia Daily this morning.
Sure.
Now I'm speaking with you. I want us to. My door's open. You have a question? Come knock on it.
Right.
That's how I was for 2 years. If you
Well,
ask me,
that's
I'll
right.
answer. If you're a solid media platform,
You'll be there?
I will answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Well, you've done that in the past, and we're hoping that'll continue in the future.
There's no reason for me not to. I work for the people. I don't work for me.
Well, that's good to hear.
So-
What's the first thing you're going to do now hitting the ground at 12:01?
At 1:01, I'm going to take a nap. No, I'm kidding. You know, we're really just going to make sure we have a solid foundation first. You have to build a foundation, and you have to build everything from the ground up. And you know, you hear a lot of rumors, and so do I. So we have to be prepared for those. Every action you take creates ripples, and we have to be prepared for the ripples and plan ahead and down the line. So one of the biggest things is our budget. We have to dive into quickly. You know, it's pretty much due 5-6 days after I'm in office, and we've been working on it to the best of our ability now, without having 100% of access to everything.
Right.
But we've been working diligently on it, and we see some areas that, you know, we want to address. But we also are dealing with, you know, it seems we have some equipment issues that we have to deal with, and, you know, hopefully we'll find it in our budget and be able to find some other resources to accommodate, like grants and so forth.
Well, we're hoping that we'll see a lot of you in the future, as far as the, you know, messages you want to get out, or messages we need to ask you.
Right.
I know you'll be available, and
I will definitely be, and so, you know, so will Robbie Seal and my Captain Holzbauer and Major Driscoll. Everybody's going to be available to address anything needed.
we appreciate you coming in and talking to us.
I enjoyed it,
Anything
Mike.
else? Anything else you want to get off your chest before you?
I'm just thankful for the people who voted me in, and I will do everything in my power not to let them down.
We appreciate that. I'm glad that things worked out for you. I think everybody put out a good race. I mean, I think it was
They
good.
did.
There wasn't a bunch of mudslinging, and it was pretty.
No, it was funny because I walked through the courthouse yesterday to swear in, and Mickey made me empty my pockets. I was like, "You are kidding me, right?" He goes, "Hey, all right, you ain't hit yet." I'm like, "Come on." So
He didn't cut you any slack, did he?
no, but that's good. But Mickey
Rule
and I,
on the rule. That's the
Mickey
big
and I have been doing that since day one.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a citizens advisory group put together. I've asked 3 people to, once we have our budget, they're going to actually review it and one's a CPA, Leslie Matthews, who ran for district. She's agreed to also do it and look at it.
She's eagle eye.
She's spot on, and and the good thing about it is all these individuals, like Colonel Pip's I can't pronounce his name all the time.
Right, I know who you're talking
but Colonel
about.
Pip,
Yeah.
very honorable, ethical man, and he's also agreed to sit down and look at the budget with us and say, okay, well, and question me on it, and that way we have the county. People from the county, qualified people of the county, who are not tied with our sheriff's office.
Right, have no skin in the game.
Right, to look at our budget and sit there and say, well, why are you spending this much money?
Yeah.
And
Why are you buying that 4-wheel drive Chevy
Exactly.
Suburban that you're only going to drive 2 miles a week?
And that's the other thing we've already looked at, Mike. We're already analyzing the difference between Explorers and Durangos. I'm not big on the Chargers. Never have been. I've rode them for many years. I don't believe they hold up. They're great for a city, but they're really not good for our terrain that we have to drive on. And so I'm looking more at the SUVs, but to find out Durangos are almost $4,000 cheaper than the Explorers. So if they can hold up maintenance-wise, and we're not dumping a lot of money in maintenance-wise.
Pay now or you pay later sometimes.
Right. So, those are the things we're analyzing, but we want to keep one solid fleet of one brand car. That way, it also helps our maintenance in the end, where vehicles aren't down for a long period of time. Our mechanics down at the shop, they can store parts on hand. So, oh yeah, that's coming at 50,000 miles. We know we're going to
need this or that.
Right, and we can get a more detailed budget with that, doing it that way.
Are you looking at the budget like as a zero based and starting from?
I don't understand how you can't run a budget that way.
Well, I've seen them. Of course, we go to the budget meetings and it's amazing. Well, we only raised it 10% more than last year. I think people just add to the last year and figure out what they're going to do with the money. And
I'm gonna refrain from saying, because I have had some questions. I was like, didn't make sense to me, and so I want to do a zero-based budget. I've already asked for the financial reports from the last 2 years. I have to run over when I leave here to pick up, and because I want to know every single dollar we're spending. That way, when I come in and I say, hey, we need this much money for laundry, it's because I've cleaned this many uniforms.
Exactly.
Or maintenance, I've had to wash the car. It costs us X amount of dollars to wash our cars. So the county should be able to know every dollar we spend and why we're spending it.
we don't have any horses we got to take care of, do we?
No, sir. No, sir, we don't.
No horses? Okay. All right.
And I haven't seen anywhere in the budget for the past 3 years of any horses in there
All
anyway. Right. That I will say. I have not seen any. I think those rumors might be a little false. So let's, but actually I haven't seen anything alarming in that budget, which I was very grateful and I was happy to see. That there was
the sheriff's budget has maintained pretty tight
it
over
has.
the last period of 4 or 5 years.
It really has. One thing I will say about Danny is Danny did try to maintain a very tight budget, and it was very well laid out and described. There's some things I think we could have done differently, but of course that's with anything.
Sure.
But for the most part, he really held that department to a really tight line, and I'm glad to see that.
Does the sheriff's office, they do get funds from the state?
We do.
In the county, and then kind of have to commingle things and jobs. I mean, you do have a responsibility of the courts, and I'm sure some of that money gets funneled around from the state to...
Well, you have what's called the comp board, and so when the state looks at it, they see based on your population. Well, the population that it's been based on has been based off of 39,000 people, but my understanding is we're paying 51,000 people are paying taxes in Warren County right now. So we know our population has grown. So the 39,000 mark bumps us up. Now, every 1,500 people in the county, there should be one deputy. And the comp board will pay a certain amount of money to that, and then our county supplements it so we can keep equal. There's no way we could function effectively on a comp board budget. There's no way. We could, if we were to do that, we would have to cut out animal control. We would have to cut out school resources. We would probably have to cut out answering basic calls, and the state police would have to take over because the town does not have authority outside of the town. So the rumors of saying, can we work off a comp board budget? That's just absurd. The services would not even be close. You have one homicide like we're dealing with now that comes up, and you're talking about hours and hours and hours, because there's certain things in a 48-hour period that you have to do immediately. And so that just bumps the overtime out of the roof, and you have to be able to account for that. So there's different ways we can go about doing that, and I'm looking on different avenues of how, possibly with part-time, increase our part-time budget to cut a lot of the overtime budget. But, there's different ways.
You don't realize how, the sheriff, you think about law enforcement, but there's a lot of administration. I mean, you really are an admin officer. I mean, it's more than a carrying the gun out of patrol kind of guy that people think the sheriff is.
But, I agree with that. But the biggest thing is, if you've never done that job,
you can't appreciate that.
Well, no, you can't really look at it and say, well, hold on, it can be done this way. We can save money by doing it this way. Because, I had a lieutenant sit there. We have, one of our canine handlers is leaving, and we have another dog that we're retiring. So he came in and he goes, instead of giving that dog to another individual, let's give it to this canine handler. Let's retire the other dog, and then we'll open the spot up for a whole new canine officer, canine dog. And that way you have a more solid, cohesive team.
Right.
And that's from experience. And it makes great sense.
Yeah.
Where someone who may not have been in that situation or been in law enforcement and understand how it's important to have the same canine handler with the dog.
Right.
It's a more effective rapport.
A team. They're a team.
Right. And so this way we can actually put that in there and be more effective. If you have someone that doesn't have that experience, they wouldn't understand that.
Right.
And they would just go and save the budget.
When I tell people that a lot, a good example is a lot of our corporate restaurant chains that we see that years ago were so great, and then they get corporate and they get big, and the bean counters, next thing you know, you wonder why is my hash brown casserole so small?
Right.
Because they figured out, if I put 2.5 ounces here and 3 ounces here and 2,
right,
where before it was,
and then you end up
grandma
losing
just stuck them on the plate. You know what I mean?
You end up losing the big picture.
That's right.
And our service.
What makes you so great to begin with?
Right. And I really look forward to the challenges ahead. But you will see every individual wearing a badge in Warren County. When you look at them, you will know that they have been background, they have been polygraphed, or to some sort of effect, and you will know they've been tested. And so everyone working for Warren County Sheriff's Office in the future, there'll be no question that they is the best of the best and the best that we can get, and they are equal to any other sheriff's office around.
Well, we appreciate that. I know you'll keep a tight rein on the budget. You'll keep us informed of what's going on, protecting and serving Warren County.
And every single person hired in Warren County will be held to the highest of standards, and everyone will be background checked, and some even polygraphed, no matter if they're the janitor or
that's something too. You think about when people are coming from somewhere else. Well, why? Maybe they're leaving a situation. They could be a great guy on paper, but when you start looking into the background, you're thinking, well, they can't get along with anybody.
Exactly.
We don't need more of that, right?
Right. No, we don't.
Again, Mark, I really appreciate all you've done in the last 2 years. I know you've been very community-oriented. And
I look forward to it.
And I think you'll be a great fit for Warren County.
Thank you. I look forward. I told Robbie his office is going to be right next to mine.
So what are you going to have Robbie do? He's going to be your just like what he's doing now?
Why not?
He's good at it.
He's great at it. The county loves him.
Yeah.
Or the town loves him.
Right.
So, yeah, let's put him in there. Let's have him do it. We're saving money by having a part-timer do it.
Sure.
But he always works more out. I mean, the way Robbie talks,
Yeah.
gosh,
He's always on duty.
he's always working, and he's going to be a great liaison for a lot of things.
And I have a good working relationship with the town police as well.
Exactly, and that's the other thing we want. So, sorry, Cale, that I took Robbie, but as much as Robbie talks, you might be thanking me. No, I'm kidding. Robbie, I love Robbie.
He's
I
a
do.
great guy. All right.
But thanks, Mike.
How
I
about
appreciate it.
we appreciate that again. Thanks again for coming in, and hope we'll see you in a few weeks. And we'll after you get your feet wet.
Hey, come see me anytime.
all right.
Just bring me coffee.
That's right. That's it. Black, no sugar.
Black, no sugar, no cream.
All right. Good. Thanks again, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks a lot.